Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, you've sent us a really fascinating stack of source material.
It's quite unique.
It is. It's a body of theological research that looks at the second night of Hanukkah, and specifically the act of lighting the menorah.
But not as just a ceremony.
No, not at all. It treats it as a precise architectural blueprint for, of all things, spiritual authority. So our mission is to sort of extract the patterns from this blueprint. If day one, which we looked at previously, was all about covenant alignment and oneness, that internal connection.
Foundational piece.
Exactly. Day two completely shifts gears. This is the day of establishment and authorized witness.
That's absolutely right. And the core insight here, I think, is that this system is really designed for sustainability.
Sustainability.
Yeah. It's the lesson that, authority, no matter how strong that initial alignment feels, it's just not released where order is ignored. Day two is where your private commitment becomes a public, credible establishment.
Okay, let's unpack this. And the sources say we have to start with the physical mechanics, what they call kingdom architecture. And right away, there's a paradox. There are these two opposing directions when you handle the candles.
It's designed to make you stop and think.
It really is. So there are three specific rules here, and they feel deliberately counterintuitive. First, you load the menorah, placing that second candle from right to left.
Okay.
Second, when you light them, you move the opposite way from left to right.
Right.
And third, the newest candle, the one you just put in, is always lit first. That's a lot of directional control. What's the principle being taught here?
This is the genius of the architecture. It's really designed to guard against what's often called, replacement thinking.
Replacement thinking.
Let's break down the first part, loading right to left. In this symbolic language, the right side is the anchor. It's immutable.
So scripturally, that's authority, sonship, covenant.
Exactly, the established truth from day one. So when you bring in the increase, the second candle, you place it next to that position, moving left.
So you don't put the new thing in the place of authority, you build beside it.
Precisely. The rule is that increase never, ever replaces alignment. It honors the foundation. And the source material uses this to issue a pretty stern warning.
Which is?
That growth must never become an excuse to dismiss the established covenant. If you put that second candle on the far right, you'd be symbolically displacing the foundation.
Practically speaking, though, isn't it just easier in life or in any organization to replace old methods with fresh ideas? Why is this building beside rule so rigid?
Because, according to the source, replacement leads to collapse. It points specifically to the idea of the church being grafted into Israel from Romans 11.
So it's about continuity, not replacement.
Exactly. The right side holds that non-negotiable truth. If you let the excitement of the new thing replace that foundational structure, you lose the authority that came from the original source. The anchor has to remain supreme.
That distinction is critical. Okay, so if that's how we load the principle, how does it translate when we actually begin to use that authority? Let's talk about the lighting. Lighting left to right.
Now the whole direction reverses. We start with the newest element, the candle on the left, and the light flows back toward the anchor on the right.
So you're honoring the fresh work first.
Yes.
But the flame, the actual light, is moving toward the established truth. The new revelation isn't off on its own, it's submitting to the foundation.
That flow ensures that any acceleration remains, safe and ordered. The source is emphatic. New revelation doesn't override what is true. It has to submit to it.
It's a picture of accountability.
Completely. That left-to-right movement shows the new expression of authority getting its validation by connecting back to the source. If it flowed the other way, it would symbolize separation, deviation.
So let's move from the physical order to the meaning of the number two itself, the law of establishment.
Yes, this is key. In the scriptural language of this source, the number two consistently signifies witness, testimony, confirmation, establishment.
It's the moment something moves from a private conviction to public substance.
That's the perfect way to put it. The source quotes 7 Corinthians 13.1. By the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, every matter shall be established.
Why that verse in particular for day two?
Because it shows that establishment isn't possible in isolation. It needs confirmation. Day one was internal. Day two is inherently about public credibility.
So the light becomes testimony.
Exactly. It shifts from something you know to something that is known about you.
And here's where it gets really interesting, because this connects to acceleration and timing. The source says acceleration isn't about speed.
No, it's about right timing. The precise moment when alignment meets opportunity.
Which requires order.
It requires ordered obedience. The principle is this. What you aligned with on day one gets established on day two. When you follow that counterintuitive order, you're signaling your commitment to the blueprint. And that what releases acceleration in God's time, not yours.
And this establishment then releases the authority to witness.
Yes. Day one was about getting that internal oneness. Day two is about receiving the authorized power to express it externally.
And the authority itself is, it's relational, not just positional.
Yes, completely. It's submitted. The second candle is a declaration that what God aligned is now authorized.
Yeah.
What was private is now credible. It reminds us of Acts 1:8. You will be my witnesses.
Right.
That power to witness flows from this established order, not from human effort, not from just being loud. The external structure confirms the internal authorization.
So if authority is established by adding, not replacing, we need a principle for sustainable growth, and the sources call this progressive illumination.
Exactly. This is maybe one of the most important parts. True kingdom growth has to be additive, and the menorah shows us how.
When you light the new candle, the old one isn't extinguished.
Never. The new light is added, but the established light keeps burning. What God establishes, he sustains. What he adds, he doesn't erase.
So day two builds on day one. Day three won't override day two.
Authority becomes cumulative, not episodic. And this is a check for all of us. If you feel like you're pursuing a new fire, but you find yourself extinguishing or discarding established light, the sources would say you're operating outside of this kingdom law.
And at the center of all this is the shamash, the servant candle.
The one that lights all the others.
And it stays lit the whole time, representing that continuous supply.
It ensures the authority remains sourced. This is the safeguard against burnout. The source quotes John 1:4. In him was life, and the life was the light of men. The source is inexhaustible. The light doesn't diminish when you share it.
Which leads to this distinction the source makes between two kinds of light, glowing versus governing light.
A really practical distinction.
How would you recognize the difference? In your own life or in a leader you're following?
A glowing light is brief. It's episodic. It's often fueled by emotion, by hype, maybe by unsustainable personal effort. Think of a fad that burns out after a week.
It has no source, no order.
Right. But a governing light is properly sourced and properly ordered. It follows the rules, the right to left loading, the left to right lighting. It is therefore sustained.
And because the earlier candles stay lit, that governing light compounds over time.
Exactly. Authority stabilizes, joy anchors, the witness strengthens. Governing light shows character and structure. Glowing light just shows temporary intensity.
Okay, let's talk about that anchor of joy. The final practical application here is that joy is the weapon that protects witness. Why is joy so strategic?
It's more than just a happy feeling. The sources identify a two-step pattern of attack against this process.
Right.
First, attack alignment with confusion. Second, attack the witness with discouragement and complaint.
And joy is the countermeasure to that second attack.
It's the countermeasure. It's what stabilizes the authority that was just released. It keeps your witness from being compromised by weariness. The source brings up Nehemiah 8:10. The joy of the Lord is your strength.
So the two candles become two witnesses against discouragement.
Yes. Without joy anchoring it, the authority weakens and the witness. It just falters, even if the internal alignment is still there.
And finally, we have to come back to the physical position of that second candle. Its proximity to covenant. It's not just lit, but where it sits.
Right next to the first one. This is non-negotiable. Witness must remain close to covenant.
If it drifts away.
The authority collapses. The danger is that the witness becomes focused on its own brilliance, its own efforts, instead of its submission to the original alignment. And then the light just becomes noise.
The distraction.
A distraction without grounding. The source is clear. You're only empowered to testify about what you have aligned with, lived, and submitted to. That constant proximity keeps the witness true.
So what does this all mean? Day 2 gives us this complete blueprint for sustainable authority.
A cycle that guards against both confusion and burnout.
It demands we manage growth carefully, making sure it adds to and never replaces our foundation.
I think we can summarize the anchor truth this way. Alignment produces authority. Authority produces witness. And witness establishes light.
The physical order protects the spiritual supply.
Right. We're not called to witness from hype or some fleeting emotion. We're called to witness from ordered obedience.
It's a declaration that our lives are meant to be established in a sustainable order, to be a credible witness, and to refuse anything that would compromise that stability.
The goal is living that ordered obedience, not just chasing a new flash of fire.
And that leads to the final provocative thought for you to consider, which is based on this principle of progressive illumination.
The light does not rush, it establishes. So look at your current knowledge, your belief system. What part of it are you treating as a replacement, a temporary fire that's going to fade, instead of an addition, a sustained, ordered light that has to build on the covenant you've already established? Think about how order governs endurance.